Welcome back to Always Learning, and what are we doing today?
We're learning.
We're learning, yes. Today we're learning how to make a coconut meringue pie.
Correct.
And I have with me the pleasure, Marie Kester, my favorite mother-in-law, here is to show us how to do it. And we're making it from scratch. So we're gonna make the crust from scratch. We're gonna make the pudding from scratch. We won't insult you there. And then what's the next
Well,
step?
that will be, we make the crust and then we make the filling and we bake it and it's done.
What about the meringue? When does that go on?
That goes on with the filling.
At the end? So we make the crust first.
And then we cook the filling.
Yep.
And then we beat the egg whites.
Yep.
Put those on and then we bake it and it's done.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll show you how to do it. And so
Okay.
should be, how long does the whole process take if somebody wanted to try this at home?
Well, you better plan on an hour. Depends on how fast and how slow you are. I'm pretty slow anymore.
Okay, so we'll plan on an hour. So we've got a big giveaway coming. It's our first giveaway ever on the channel. We're giving away one of Marie's coconut meringue pie. Now, if they wanted to make a chocolate, could we do that too?
A chocolate, yes.
We could do a chocolate as well.
Or a butterscotch.
Or a butterscotch.
Or a lemon.
Or a lemon. Okay, so what you need to do to win is, today is February 23rd. You have until March 9th to get on, subscribe to the Always Learning channel, and leave a comment below. Put in there what kind of pie you want. What are they? Lemon, butterscotch, chocolate, and coconut. Those four. Pick one. Now, there is one caveat. You need to check back after March 9th. We'll put in the comments who the big winner is, in case you got some kind of code name on YouTube that I don't know who you are, so I can get with you. I'll deliver the pie to anyone in the state of Kansas, to the winner. If you're out of state, like Hamel, if you're out of state, we can't deliver to you, but if you know someone in the state of Kansas that wants your pie, I will deliver it to them. And then after that, I'll get with you to find out what date you want it, and we'll make it and get it delivered. So big giveaway, pretty exciting. So subscribe and put a comment below. All right.
Sounds good. First of all, I'll sift my flour. I give 2 cups of sifted flour. Then I'll add my shortening.
Okay, what kind of shortening was that? Was that
butter? I use the butter Crisco.
Okay.
And the Hudson flour.
Hudson flours, which we got at Dillon's.
Pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt. Now, do you measure, or do you just put that like in the palm of your hand?
I just pinch.
Okay, because I just put it in the cup of my hand, and that's what I do. I think rookies do it, the measuring.
Oh, they probably do, but I've done the pikes for so many years, I just pinch.
So you're a pinch gal. Okay, all right.
And I also add a pinch of baking powder, which is never in a recipe, but it makes your pie crust a little fluffier.
Is that in the recipe that you gave to your girls?
It is.
Okay, all right. And I thought maybe, because the Italians, the Italian grandmas, you know what they do?
They hide it.
They hide one ingredient, so you can never make it the same.
Well, I won't do that.
Okay, so now you're sifting the flour.
2 cups of flour.
2 cups of flour.
Pinch of the baking powder.
Yep.
And a pinch of the salt. And then we will cut in
to the butter Crisco.
This is butter Crisco.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that next time. I've never tried that. What's that substitute for? Is that substitute for butter?
No,
or
for just regular Crisco.
Just for regular Crisco.
Now, years ago, the old farm ladies, which was my mother, she used lard.
Lard?
But I don't like to use lard. So
why not? You just don't like to make it, or you don't like to get
the taste of it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
What's it taste like? Saltier? Or?
Well, I don't know.
Greasier?
I don't know. Plus you always buy lard anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a
pie cutter, right?
Yes, you use it to cut the.
I've never seen one before. You just use it to mash up the.
And then you have to get it to where it's called pea size. Just kind of work it, and work it.
And you're trying to get it to pea size. What does that mean?
Well, that's just what the recipe calls it.
So like the clumps are pea size?
You wouldn't want it to be big like that. You would want it to be, I'll show you in the end what they call pea size.
Okay.
We just stir and mix. You can use just 2 knives, or you can use a fork, but I use this pastry cutter. That's what it's called.
And are you going up and down, or are you just kind of...
I'm just stirring it around. Just kind of like that. See how it's getting to be just real small, real fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've just about got it.
That's how you want it?
And then I use ice water. You have to add 6 to 7 tablespoons of water to this, and I use ice water. I add, it calls for 6 or 7 tablespoons of ice water. I do 2 at a time, and I mix again as I did before.
And it was ice water, but you took the ice out, and you're just adding cold water.
Well, yeah, just ice cold water, yeah. Okay, I've mixed, now I'm gonna add 2 more.
And what is that supposed to do? Does that help it solidify?
It just, I think it mixes better if you do it slow and a little at a time rather than dumping it all in at once. See, it's beginning to form like a pie crust should be. I'm going to put just a little bit of flour on my parchment paper. Don't need very much.
Just so it sticks less?
So I can roll it easy.
Okay.
This is a rolling pin that I received when I got married in 1956. So I'm assuming there's hundreds of pies that have been made from this. The handle does not turn. A family friend made this for me when we got married. So that's the only one that I've ever used.
Family friend from Oberlin or?
He lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, but
nice.
He was a family friend, and I was born and raised in Oberlin, yes. So
a little Cornhusker.
Well, he was, yeah.
All right, so you're getting it on both sides.
A little bit of flour on both sides. I roll from the center out on my pies crust.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to turn my parchment paper.
And how thin are you trying to make this bad boy?
Pretty thin. Pretty thin. Some people like a thick pie crust, but less calories if you do it thinner.
And you're just adding some of that Hudson flour that you're sold on.
So it won't stick, And I really can't tell you why I like Hudson flour, I just do. I use it for my cakes and my pies and...
We're gonna do a little research and see if that comes from the same flour mill as like Pillsbury or something else.
Well, they have their own in Hudson, Kansas.
Oh, Hudson, Kansas.
I'll do a little advertising.
Yeah,
for them.
well, I'm sure they'll send us a couple bags, you know.
Yeah, I started using the Hudson flour, many years ago, and I decided I liked it, so.
And you use which one? It's the short patent. What's that mean? Does it mean anything?
One is however they make it for flour. I don't know what they do for that. And then one is a wheat.
Oh,
you can
okay.
get a wheat flour one too. So, okay, I think we about have this.
That's pretty thin.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. To get it too thin, then it'll fall apart when I try to put it in the pie tin.
Yeah.
And then I have a 9-inch glass Pyrex pipe tin.
Yep.
I will take this, pick it up like this.
Okay, slide it under.
Slide it under there. Put this on there.
Now, if it cracks like that, is that a problem? Do you need to re-roll it, or can you kind of bend it?
I mend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna put stuff in there anyway. But when it bakes, will that solidify?
If you left the crack there, yes, it would run out into the glass.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. So, probably.
But you're just kind of pushing it together.
I'm just well, you want to get it down around so it doesn't raise up when you're baking it, bubble.
So you got to get it tight to the glass.
Yes.
And do you have to use glass, or could you use tin?
You can use tin, but I don't even know if they have tin pie tins anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Well, like when they make them, the store-bought ones.
They're in
those little, those little
and you probably could use that too. So, and then now you just I put my fingers in the flour and then start pinching to make the crust. Stand up here.
How much is a glass?
A pie pan?
Yeah.
Gosh, Tim, I haven't bought one for so long.
Like, what's a ballpark, you think?
Probably $2, $1.97.
Okay, well, we're going to spend the big bucks, and we're going to give away a glass with the pie. So.
Yeah, they don't need to return the
no,
pie.
that's what I was thinking. That's why I was thinking, if you took it over to a friend's house, you'd want to do it like in aluminum if you're giving it to somebody who's sick or something.
I probably have given away several pie tins, but I had a friend that was going to a nursing home, and she gave me, I don't know, 3 or 4 of her pie glass ones. And then I have daughters that are always bringing me some, so I really have not purchased.
Your daughters are bringing you, they're not taking and then not
They're,
returning?
they're bringing me the pie tin, so I'll make them the pie.
I got you, yeah.
I think that's
well, that's how it should be.
yeah, I think that's what they're doing.
So what are you doing here? You're just going around and kneading, kind of pinching together the top?
There are different utensils that you can buy that'll do it.
But God gave you fingers, so.
Yeah.
Now you lick them first so they don't stick?
No,
okay.
I don't lick them. I put them in the flour.
Okay, good.
And
Oh,
then
that's a good tip.
Then I go around the edge, so it kind of makes it loose. So you can cut it with a knife. Then I'm going, after I've went around the edge to kind of, flatten it out there so I can cut it off, and I just take the knife, cut it off. The pie recipe that I just showed you we'll make 2 of these, or it'll make 1, like a cherry pie or an apple pie, a 2-crust pie. So the recipe will make, but like
What's a 2-crust pie? Just means it's thicker?
it's a cherry or apple or whatever, blueberry, and you make the crust and then you put the fruit in it.
Oh, and then you put the crust on
the
top. I got you. So top and a bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I'm
I
tracking
have
with you now.
some left over, and now it's ready. Now I take a fork, make little holes in here
And what's that doing?
so that it won't bubble, and so it'll stay firm in the pan. Just kind of like that. Now it's ready to go in the oven. This is the pie crust that we made. Fix the edge and prick the crust, and we're going to put it in the oven and bake it about 20 minutes at 350. Then from there we'll go with the filling and the meringue. First of all, I like to separate my eggs, the whites from the yolks, so that they're room temperature. So that's what I will do now. Separate the white.
And the white is just the...
White is what you whip for the meringue. The egg yolk you'll put in the pudding. I make my pudding from scratch.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't want to insult you by saying
no box mix for me. And I'll use that for those. They whip better if they're at room temperature. The yolk is not so important at room temperature, but the egg white is.
Egg white is, and why is it important?
Well, it just whips better. For some reason, don't ask me why, it just whips better. After 60-some years of making pies, I guess that's just my knowledge.
And how many eggs are you putting in there?
4.
4, okay.
And they don't want to crack very easy.
And then what do? You set those aside?
I set them aside, I use sometimes, depending on the egg, size of the egg, sometimes I'll use a couple more whites for the meringue. Not always, but sometimes.
And that's what you're doing today?
That's what I'm doing today, because they didn't look like very large eggs.
So you're not doing the Rocky where you just swallow the egg yolk over there, you're just throwing them away?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the yolks.
Director here. Okay, ready? Okay, go.
Okay, we're going to make the filling for the coconut cream pie.
And what do we put in the filling? Sugar, looks like.
This is a cup of sugar.
Yep. What? More than a cup. It's a
Well,
cup.
I add a little bit more because I like it sweet.
Oh.
But it's what it calls
Okay, pulling
for.
the old Italian card there with a little bit more.
And I need the salt again, whatever we did with it.
Okay, I'll grab it.
And cornstarch. I use a 1/4 and a tablespoon. 1/4 of a cup and a tablespoon.
Yep.
Okay.
There's,
And another little pinch of salt.
yeah, I'm glad you do that because that's how I do it. I just use that little cup by hand.
Okay, so we did the sugar, the cornstarch.
Yep.
I use one of the cups. I use 3 cups of milk.
Yeah.
I use 1 cup of the cold to mix it.
So you got one that's hot, scalding hot, that we put in the microwave, and then you got one that's cold.
Yes, I like to mix it with the cold. So this is the dry ingredients here: the sugar, the cornstarch. You can also use flour, but I've always used cornstarch.
Okay.
So
And now you're adding the cold milk.
cold milk, stir it
Add
up
that first. Yep.
a little bit at a time.
Yeah. And what are you looking for?
Consistency, you know, you want it to be, you don't want it to be lumpy. You want it, that's why I add just a little at a time so that it won't get lumpy.
It's almost like
Like a paste, sort of.
yeah, it's not a that's pretty runny really.
Well, yeah.
And then it'll harden up right when you
Well, when you're cooking it, you remember you gotta
Yeah.
get
Oh,
over
yeah,
to the
yeah,
stove
we're
and cook
cooking
it.
Yep.
So, okay, we've got the cornstarch and the sugar, and that's it. And then we'll add the hot milk, 2 cups, which makes total of 3.
Yep.
Then we will go to the stove. We're gonna cook this slow so it doesn't scorch. This pan I received when I got married 65 years ago also, and I like it because it's the copper bottom and it kind of controls the heat temperature.
Is that a special brand?
Revereware, but I'm sure the new pans today would do the same, but you know, when you use what you have, so they've lasted all this time, so that's good.
And you have that on medium heat?
Yes.
Medium heat.
We could turn it up just a little to start with, but since we had hot boiling water or milk in there, it'll probably start. You just cook this till it gets thick and stir it all the time that you're cooking. I like to use a whip because then you can get around in the corners of the pan. Stir this, you know, keep stirring it all the time, constantly, and when it starts thickening, getting thicker, then I'm going to turn the stove down just a little.
Down from, you got like on an 8, so it's pretty high, so you turn
Yeah.
down to like a 6.
I'm going to turn it down. I've got it on 6 now, yeah.
And so you've been stirring for about 15 minutes, right?
Yes. Depending
you
on
just
the
keep-
temperature of the stove, you know, everybody's stove's a little different too. Gas stoves are different than electric stoves, so stove cooktops are different temperature-wise, so.
And you're basically just boiling getting the
You're
meat,
just-
the milk out of it in the water.
Well, you're just thickening it, and that's what the cornstarch does, or flour, whichever you choose to use. Okay, when you make cream pies, all of they use the milk, like the chocolate or the banana or the coconut. But if you make a lemon, it's the liquid in a lemon is water, and you use the juice from a fresh lemon, and you use the rind off of the
So a
lemon.
little bit of zest.
A little bit of zest in it, and makes it flavor more,
But no milk.
but no milk.
Have you ever made one with milk just to see?
No, never have, because all my recipes all say water. So I have a friend that gave me her recipe that when I cooked at the senior center, I made it there and everybody liked it so well. So that's, instead of the one in the cookbook, I use that one, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just she uses a little more lemon juice in hers, and that might be why they liked it so much better.
Yeah, a little tartar.
See, it's starting to get thick now, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to have my egg yolks just whipped a little bit so that they blend in with the pudding mix when you add it too. I'm about ready to add it, but I'll finish cooking.
And how do you know when you add your egg yolks?
When this is thick, when it gets as thick as you want it, then you add the egg yolks and just leave it on just a little bit.
So if you want it really thick, you just keep stirring.
Well, no, if you wanted it really thick, you would add more flour or cornstarch, whichever
Okay.
you was using. Yeah, but the recipe calls for the 1/4 of a cup and a tablespoon, and that's what I used. So I think it's just about thick enough now, so I'm going to add the eggs.
Egg yolks, right?
Egg yolk. Stir that up good.
And you're still on kind of medium
I'm
heat.
still on, maybe medium to low.
Yeah.
So we can get that all mixed up in there good.
That looks good.
Doesn't take long for the egg yolks to cook when you put them in that hot. Okay, so I'll shut the fire off. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter.
It's room temperature, right?
Just room temperature. I cut it up in kind of small pieces. Add that to the pudding mix. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
Now we add the egg yolk and the butter and the vanilla. Now we'll just stir and stir and stir till that all gets mixed up.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed you measured the vanilla. I was hoping you'd just kind of freestyle it and throw it in there, because that's what I did.
I did the measuring spoon. And see how thick it's getting now. So that's the way it should be. Okay, and then if you were doing chocolate pie, you would have put the cocoa in when you did the dry ingredients. Some people like it real chocolate, so you put a half a cup. I use a little over a fourth because I don't like mine quite so chocolate. That would have been in with the dry ingredients.
Okay, and you're adding coconut though.
I'm adding, yes.
And how much? Just
I'm going to put about a half a cup of coconut in there. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll stir that in. Looks like that's just about the right consistency for it to set up good. We have our cooked pie shell, which I bake about 20 minutes. I just kind of check the oven to see how brown it is. When it's toasty brown, then I take it out.
And we had that on 350.
350,
Yeah.
and we'll need it on 350 when we beat the egg whites and put the egg whites on the top.
For the meringue.
For the meringue.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll add this.
Yeah, that looks really good. That's really thick.
Well, I made some the other day, and for some reason they didn't get as thick as I wanted them. But
well, good thing we got this one. And the one we're giving away to people, I'm sure it'll be really thick. We may add a little cornstarch to it.
Well, and it may be a second. I may have to make two when that comes. If the first one is jiggly, then I'll just make another.
We probably should sample it and make sure quality control before it goes out the door.
Maybe so. Well, we can't sample the one.
No, we'll sample. We'll make two, sample one, and then send it out the door.
Now we have the filling in the pie, and
Yep.
I'm going to beat the egg whites. They've been sitting here till they're room temperature, which makes them whip a little better. I like to whip them like 3 minutes or so. They're supposed to be dry, very dry and fluffy. So we're going to turn it on.
Okay, now if you didn't have one,
You
could just do it, but you'd be doing it for like a long time.
I don't think you'd ever get them stiff enough unless you used a hand mixer. You can use a
hand mixer would be okay.
But this thing that I used, I don't think would whip them enough to make them. I mean, you could do it, but they wouldn't stand up and be full like it's supposed to be.
So three minutes in the KitchenAid mixer is what you're going through. Okay, that's really thick.
Yeah, very thick. The thicker, the stiffer, the drier they are, the better they stand up on the pie.
So you've had that in there. You were whipping that for 3 minutes.
3 to 4 minutes. Sometimes the old timers say that temperature, weather has something to do with baking. I've had pies that this seems to be like it's set up like it was supposed to, but sometimes they don't. So I don't know what it is. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar, not very much.
Yep.
And a little cream of tartar.
Yep. Tartar. A little pinch.
A little pinch. Little pinch.
And then you mix that back up again?
And then I'll just kind of fold it a little bit.
Oh, fold it. The old folding, that's just basically stirring.
That's just folding it.
I know.
You don't want to use the mixer on it again. See how dry those appear to be?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just spoon this on there.
Oh, look at that.
As I'm putting the meringue, the egg whites on, I like to go around the edge and kind of seal that over.
Yeah, giving away the trade secrets. I like it.
So the filling doesn't, when you're browning the meringue, then it kind of, holds the filling in there.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen any of your girls make a meringue pie.
Well,
You think they're intimidated? Is that what it is?
I can remember when my daughters got married, my son-in-laws said, you didn't teach them to do laundry or cook.
Well, now my wife knew how to do laundry, and
she went to college. She probably had to learn there.
Well, I'm glad your favorite son-in-law
Well,
is
yes,
at least learning to make,
Yes.
you know,
Today,
meringue pie. I'm going to be a big meringue pie expert by the time.
today he is my favorite, but you know,
Oh,
sometimes
today.
I have to say the others are, so.
Well, yes, when you're around them, yeah.
Yes, and of course.
Don't worry, they're not going to watch the channel, so you're safe.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm back to the rolling pin that I was using.
Yep.
I have a granddaughter that has put her name on it. So
Yes.
when I'm gone, that granddaughter gets the rolling pin. So you see how many pies she makes with that rolling pin.
Yeah, you know what? Kinsley will make pies. She is a baker.
All right, this is ready to go in the oven. A little trick, if you're making several of them, like a chocolate and a coconut or whatever, you can take your coconut and sprinkle just a little bit on the top.
Yeah.
And then if you're making a chocolate, you put a daub of it there, or a daub of the butterscotch. And then when you have your pie sitting out, you know what kind it is. Okay, now we're going to put the pie in the oven at a 350 degrees and about 20 minutes, but just keep your eye on it, and when it's toasty brown, it's ready to come out.
When the meringue is kind of a toasty brown.
Yes, you're done with the crust and the fillings finished, so now it's just the meringue.
So you're not really baking the filling or
No.
baking the crust. They're done,
Just
right?
browning the, and if some people like to put Cool Whip on their cream pies instead of egg whites, so you can do that. Then you don't have to bake it anymore. Okay, I think the pie is ready to come
Oh,
out.
that looks amazing.
We first, and we'll go over it a little bit. First, we made the pie crust. Then we baked it for 20 minutes or so. Then we made the filling, which was the cream, coconut cream. Put that in the baked pie crust. Then made the meringue. Put it back in there and baked it for another 20 minutes.
All on 350.
All on 350.
Okay, well it looks wonderful.
Yeah, there it is.
And then do you let it set
Yes, you need to let it set a while.
for how long?
Well, it depends on how fast you want to eat it. It can set all day, or you can eat it warm.
And it does need to be refrigerated.
No. Well, it will tomorrow after, but yeah, for the first day you don't need to.
Well, thanks for teaching us how to make a meringue pie, coconut meringue pie. I'm excited. I may make one this week. We'll see. It was simpler. I'm sure there's an art to it, but it was simpler than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really complicated.
Well, you can make it complicated, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. And we're going to, don't forget about the giveaway. So subscribe and like, add a comment below. And you got to be in the state of Kansas, or you have to, if you win, you can give it to someone in the state of Kansas. And remember, you got to pick in the comments, put what choice you want. And what are the 4 choices?
Chocolate, butterscotch, coconut cream, or lemon.
Lemon, perfect.
Right.
So put it in there and we will get it to you after March 9th. Check back in the comments. We'll announce the winner.
Okay.
And then I'll get with you and figure out a time that works for Marie to make it and a time that gets it delivered in a timely fashion to you. So thanks for tuning in.
Hope you enjoy it.